What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 11. We're going to be talking about some super cool chords. If you've ever been listening to a song and heard a chord progression or just heard a specific chord that just really got you excited, made you really tune your ear and listen to that song, that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, if you see this different position, my keyboard is above my desk, so I had to kind of come up here and I'm going to be playing it kind of high like this. The first thing we're going to talk about is No Shame by 5 Seconds of Summer. If you've heard this hit by them from their most recent album, you may have noticed that there's something really unique going on with this song, and that is in the chord progression. We got this. Right? Now, typically in a lot of songs, you're going to have, we call the one chord or the tonic chord, right? And the most popular chords out there are going to be the 5, the dominant, and then the subdominant, right? We've all heard that. 1, 4, 5, 1, okay? Very, very common. A lot of times, too, you'll get the minor 6, okay? And then 4, 5, 1. Tons and tons of songs are based around this. So whenever you hear something that's going to buck that trend and go a little bit different, it's always ear-catching to me. But this one specific puts it not just as like a little twist here and there, but as a core part of the song where it goes from the 1, and instead of going to the 6, and then 4, this one here, No Shame, we're going to start on the tonic. We're going to eventually end up on the 4. But in between, we're going to go to the flat 6 major. Oh, it's just so juicy and delicious. And there, it goes to the 4. Now, it's interesting because part of what helps this sound really good is we have this common note, the G, right, which is the root of the first chord, with G chord. And then it's going to be the 3rd of that chord right there, and then the 5th of this chord right there, okay? So there is some way, because of that common note, that helps it sound a little bit natural as it goes from one thing to the next. I want to point out something else that happens in this song. So just before the chorus, they change it up, almost the same progression, but you're going to go to the flat 6 major, but then instead of the 4, you're going to go to the 4 minor. And then the whole chorus stays in that. And then the minor 4. And then in the verse goes back to the 4 major. Now there's a few other things to listen out for here, because they're not just taking a really cool chord. They're taking a chord that's just not in this key at all. They're also playing with major and minor, and they're also playing with other notes inside these chords, the 4th and the 6th. So in that melody we have going on, the 4, and then now you're going to have the 4 of this new chord, which gives that tension. Now when we get to the chorus, you have, and then you get to this 4 again. And then right? So here, call my name, it's going to be the 6 of that 4 minor chord right there. So they're keeping within the notes of the chords, but by bringing those others in, that 4th suspension there, and then so they're using all these really cool things. Now, having chords that go out of the key, playing around with major and minor. Now, these are things that are very common in music from one of my favorite bands of all time, Depeche Mode. And that was one of the things that drew me to them, was that there always seemed to be this uniqueness in a lot of the chords. Now, one of their biggest hits, Enjoy the Silence, this is from 1990. This is 30 years ago now. But something's going on here where they're doing a lot of those things. Not saying they copied this song, but they're doing a lot of similar things. Think about the main chord progression in Enjoy the Silence. In those interludes, you have, right, C minor, and then E flat major. So basically, here's the root. You're doing the 6 minor and the major, okay? Nothing special there, but when they play it, it sounds a little bit ominous, a little something extra going on, and that's because of the melody that's being played on top of it that's adding in some of those sixth and some of those extra notes, right? Right? Major 7 up to, and then here's that sixth, flat 6, right? And then the sixth of that chord, flat 6 there. All right, so that's the intro right there. Now, in the verse, they're going to start on the C minor chord, and then they're going to go up to the E flat. No, they're not going to go major. They're going to go minor on you. Ooh, listen to that. And then they're going to go down to the 4, which sounds, it's if I just played this. Right? 1, 4, 5, 1. Okay? But by playing with that, messing around with it in the verse, it's kind of a similar thing as in No Shame, where you have the root, you have the 4, except this one is keeping the 4 and the 6 minor natural, but they changed the 1, and by changing the 1 to minor, oh boy, it just makes this chord progression so cool. So the other cool thing that's happening, of course, on top of those chords, like we talked about with No Shame, is the melody. And this melody right here, right, it's going to hit that flat 6 like in the introduction, and then listen what happens in that minor chord. May, fall, may, right? So it's going to go to the 3rd, to the 4th, and then it's going to hit that 4, flat 6, and then I just love that. And then, you know, all I wanted, all I ever needed was you. I'm not going to go through all that, but go back and check out the links, listen to these songs, and you can hear these chord progressions happening in them. But by taking some chords that are out of the normal key, by playing around between major and minor in unexpected ways, and using some extra notes, some fourths, some sixths, and sometimes flat 6 in these chords, really can make a big difference. And the trick again, of course, having a really cool melody on top that doesn't draw attention to the fact that there's these fancy chords, but makes it sound normal and natural, and really helps those songs to come together. So 2 fantastic songs, No Shame by 5 Seconds of Summer, Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode. Check them out. Tell me what you think. If you have other favorite chords or songs that you think have really cool chord progressions, let me know below. And maybe sometime in the future, we'll do a little analysis of that. I'm a super music nerd, and when it comes to these kind of things, I love playing the piano, trying to figure out what those chords are and what they're doing different. Sometimes I can catch it by ear. Most times I usually need to kind of play it around. I don't have this advanced ear where I could really hear these super crazy jazz chords, but relatively simple things like this that you'll hear in a lot of pop music is just so cool to me. So hope you've enjoyed, and I'll talk to you later.